that part in it.
I've just started. You can edit it out.
We'll edit it and cut it.
You know what?
Hi, so this is going to be a makeup... Oh, sorry, we need to start again. So, what would you like me to call you in the video?
Lucy.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Just wanted to establish that before to make sure. Hi, are we ready now?
You do. Someone doesn't know how to use the
Let me
tripod.
get the clap of
It's
all.
an ear one. Just get your head in. Okay.
Hi, I'm Lily. I'm the chair of Spirit Level Transgender Support Group, and I'm also a qualified Level 2 and 3 beauty therapist and have experience working in spas. So today I'm going to be doing a makeup tutorial on the lovely Lucy, and I have my products for me here, so I'm going to get going and start now. So I'm going to start by just sanitising my hands, just to make sure that we've got some good hygiene and to make sure that everything is sterile, ready for going forward with the tutorial. Then I will be cleansing Lucy's face with some micellar water and wipes, so that we have a nice clean blank canvas to start on, because it's important to make sure that you do have a clean face before putting makeup on, because you don't want to be putting it over any pollutants that you get throughout walking around the city, or any oil or any bacteria or anything like that. So we want to make sure that we are having a nice clean slate to start on. I was supposed to bring cotton pads with me, but I forgot, so the wipes will be fine. And I'm going to put the micellar water over the wipes, just because that's more nourishing for the skin. And when I cleanse the face, I'm making sure that I'm going up in upwards motions rather than dragging the skin downwards, because what we don't want to do is we don't want to create any frictions and cause premature aging. So we're always dragging that skin upwards, and make sure to do the neck as well, because people can often neglect the neck, but it's important to make sure that all of the face and neck is nice and cleansed, ready for our makeup tutorial. Sometimes as well, wipes or anything like a mitt can be better than cotton pads, because the problem with cotton pads is they can get stuck in stubble sometimes, which can cause problems, so sometimes wipes can be better. And now I'm going to go in with some Dior Super Potent Eye Serum. People often forget to use eye serum in their beauty regimes, but it's really important to use eye serum, because eyes can get dark circles quite easily, because eyes suffer from dark circles, and people often think you don't need to use eye serum or eye cream until you're older, but you can use just a light serum around your eyes if you're young, and then if you have more mature skin, it's better to go in with something a bit richer to help to combat wrinkles. I'm just going to put this all around Lucy's eyes, just to brighten up the eye area and make you look younger and fresher. Isn't that what we all want?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'm just going to pat this in. I'm not going to rub it in, because rubbing can cause friction and it can cause drag and sagginess around the eyes. So you always, with your eye serum, you want to pat it in rather than rub. I learnt this while working in a peyo spa, you see. And I'm just doing some lymphatic drainage movements while I'm putting this eye cream into the skin, and I'm not rubbing it, I'm just massaging it around the eyes. Lymphatic drainage is very good because it helps with any swelling or anything like that you can get in the face or the body, so it helps everything drain properly. And now I'm going to use moisturiser. This is one of my personal favourite moisturisers. It is the Espar Optimal Skin Pro Moisturiser. And I just love this moisturiser because It's really nourishing and it's not too thick or heavy on the skin, because one of my pet peeves is I don't like anything that's too heavy on the skin. For example, I usually wear foundation, but because I've been up since early this morning with university, I haven't put foundation on my skin today, because by this time of day, foundation can often start to feel too heavy on the skin. So I like something a bit lighter that's going to still be nourishing as well. It also smells lovely, this moisturiser, and it just gives the skin a lovely brightening effect. And I'm going to work from the neck upwards. I've also worked in the spa as well, so I'm very experienced with the products, and it's one of my favourite skincare brands.
It does smell really nice.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Your skin feels so soft now. Do you have a skincare routine at the moment?
I occasionally moisturise, but beyond that, not really.
Okay. So I would recommend that you do start cleansing and moisturising every day at the very least, just because that will really help with your skin and everything. What moisturiser are you using at the moment?
Oh gosh, I can't remember the name of it, if I'm quite honest with you. Good one I bought from Boots.
Okay, now it's time to go in with the foundation. Whether you start with your eye makeup or your face makeup is completely up to you. I prefer to start with the face makeup because that's the philosophy of top beauty brands such as Chanel, where they usually always start with the face makeup rather than going on to the eyes, because they don't like to leave a lady with a bare face. And I'm just using my number 7 Beautifully Matte foundation, and this has SPF 25 in, so it also provides sun protection, which is very important. Just going to put this in different areas around the face before I start blending it in. The colour match might not be exactly your tone, because number 7 do have a machine. It's very clever where they can match your skin tone with a foundation that's for your skin. But it looks close enough to me. Once it's blended in, I'm sure we'll be fine with the powder on. I like to use quite a generous amount of foundation because I just like to make sure that all of the imperfections are covered. Not that you have many, but we want to start with a flawless canvas. And I always focus it on where I may have any shadow, any beard shadow or any stubble, because I like to make sure that that's covered. Let's get started with blending this in now. And I'm just using a foundation beauty blender. I bought this today, new. Wow, your skin looks really good with this foundation. I can see the change already. It's blending in really well. I would usually do it faster than this when I'm doing my own makeup, but I'm just doing it slowly for the sake of this tutorial, so that you can really gauge every step I'm doing. And where we've got things that we want to cover more, instead of rubbing it, we can pat it, because if you pat it, that helps the coverage more, so it will turn it from a medium coverage to a full coverage. And what I like about this foundation is it's really buildable, so you can have it as a light coverage if you don't want to put a lot on, or you can have it as a medium to full coverage like what I'm doing at the moment. We are going out after this for some drinks, so I'm doing a more evening style makeup look. I would say foundation, concealer, powder, bronzer and blush are my favourite products to put on because I just love the way they transform the face. I find eye makeup a little bit more tedious and boring, but I just love putting face makeup on. I just want to make sure that's all blended properly into the hairline so that you can't see any lines, because that's a mistake I think we've all made. When I was in school, I would wear Maybelline Matte Mousse, Rimmel foundation, and put a squirt of it on each cheek and my forehead and my nose and my chin, and just end up like a big mess full of foundation, and that's not what we want. But you live and learn, as they say. We also want to make sure that's blended even into the eye creases as well, just to make sure it's all blended and that there's no difference in the skin, as that's what the purpose of foundation is. Okay, that looks okay to me. So I'm now going to go in with a concealer, and I'm going to use the L'Oreal Paris Infallible 24-Hour More Than Concealer. And what I like about this concealer is I like how full coverage it is. And I'm going to start by just using it underneath the eyes, because that will help to brighten up your eye area and help to make you look younger, brighter and fresher.
Cover up with those sleeveless nights.
I'm just going to use some here as well, because you also use concealer on any imperfections you may have.
Okay.
Some people like to put their concealer on before their foundation, but I prefer to put mine on after the foundation, because I think then you can see where you want to put the concealer. But if you want a really full coverage, you can do it before and after. Yeah, so if you just want to look up for me, please, then I can just see where I'm blending it. And I want to get this as close to the eye as possible, without getting it in your eye, obviously.
Fair if you didn't, it's alright.
If you feel any discomfort at any time, just let me know, okay?
Oh, okay.
And again, I'm just going to pat it here, because then you're getting that coverage that you need. The concealer is lighter than the foundation, but it's supposed to be lighter because you don't want to use something dark underneath your eyes. We all have busy lifestyles in the modern world, so that's why it's important to make sure that you look like you're well rested. Then you can deceive people. Do you wear makeup often?
I normally just wear a bit of eye makeup rather than the sort of foundation and things like that. Since I've transitioned, I've struggled a bit with foundation, and and it sort of rubs off quite easily and sort of not quite found it to get it look quite right.
Do you set it with a powder?
Yes.
Okay. I'll make sure to use plenty of powder on your skin then, because you may have a more oily skin, and that's why you might find that it's not setting as well as you would like it to. But so I will make sure to set it with plenty of powder. What I would probably recommend more for your skin then is a powder foundation. I know L'Oreal and Bare Minerals do a lovely powder foundation that's suited more for the oily or combination skins. I used to use one of those when I was younger, and it's lovely because it just stops any shine showing through. The only problem, even though this is a matte foundation, is you can get a shine that still shows through. So that's why we move on to the next step, when I'm going to use my Dior Forever Cushion Powder. And I'm going to focus this mostly on the nose and the forehead, because they're where people tend to get more oil. And I'm just going to really get that brush in there to make sure I'm really dabbing it in. I don't want it to get out on your clothes though, so I'm just going to do that, and then swiping that around your face in light motions. You can even do this a few times just to really build that powder up. Just to make sure everything's set and you're not going to, your makeup's going to move as little as possible throughout the day. Gonna go in one final time. You don't want to keep doing it too much though, because you don't want to make the person cakey. Okay, and now I'm going to move on to the bronzer. And this isn't a new brush, it's one of my own brushes, so I'm going to make sure to sanitize it first. If you're doing makeup on other people, you should always make sure to sanitize it before and after, sanitize the brushes before and after, just because you don't want any kind of cross-contamination or anything like that. Just going to make sure the brush is fully dry as well, because I don't want to get any of the makeup brush cleanser onto your skin, as I don't want to irritate it.
Okay.
It is really important that you do clean your makeup brushes often, because a lot of people forget about that, but it's an important step. And also replacing them as well. Replacing them at least every few years, I would say, at least every 2 years. Now, I absolutely love this bronzer, because for a long time I would be using bronzers and I would find that they weren't showing up on my skin. No matter how much I would dab my brush into the bronzer and try and apply it onto my skin, it would just not show up at all. So that's why I love this Hoola Benefit bronzer in caramel, because it's nice and dark and it's really going to show up on your skin. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to like dab my brush in like that, because that's just going to put too much pigment onto your skin. So I'm going to start with just little light sweeps onto the brush. And then you build it, so you can always go back for more. It's better to start out light and then build it rather than going too heavy and then have to blend it, because that's more difficult. If you just want to suck your cheekbones in for me, please, so I can get a look of your bone structure, so I know where to apply the bronzer. You can see that looks quite dark already, but as I blend it, it looks nice. It's blending in quite good. You don't seem to need a lot of it because you have quite a fair skin. I find with myself that my bronzer and blusher shows up more when I don't wear foundation, because I think of the way that the foundation sets on the skin. I think it can take pigment out of it once you try and put more pigment onto the skin. Now that's really helped to define your cheekbone more. And I'm not just going to leave it there, I'm also going to put it on the temples of the forehead. And that just helps to slim your face, because that's the contour of your bone structure. And you're just sweeping it around the face, where the sun would naturally kiss the skin. And then it will blend in seamlessly. I'm also going to put it on the jawline as well, just to help to define your jawline and your bone structure. And now we'll repeat that on the other side. You want to make sure everything is even, because generally we find even face is more attractive. I personally don't really like the way foundation looks if you're not adding anything to it. So if you're not putting bronzer on or blusher on over it, I think it can just look too blank. I think you need to add some colour to it, just to help to define the face. Now this isn't a drag makeup look, this is just an evening natural makeup look for trans ladies with tips and tricks that I have found out myself over the years.